And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, July 30th. Temperatures outside right now in the lower 70s across much of the area. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel, who's down, I believe, in Baltic already. Am I correct there, Bridgette?
I am. Can anybody notice the logo behind me?
The old Hefty Seeds logo, is that what that is behind you?
That's gonna give that away.
There you
Yes.
go.
And I am diligently looking at the Ag PhD field day schedule for tomorrow, trying to remember where I need to be at all the times in all the places. So there's a lot going on.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'll tell you what, finally the weather is going to cooperate. It's been hot and steamy down over South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, but a cold front has swept through, and that is ushering in some drier weather and also less humid, and much of the same for our area as well. We're looking at quite a bit of cloud cover across the area right now, and we're looking at that continuing as we head through the afternoon. We'll have highs today in the mid to upper 70s with a north-northeast wind about 5 to 15. We'll clear things out overnight tonight. Pleasant night temperature-wise, low 50s, but again, we're still going to be dealing with some of that Canadian smoke. In fact, that'll be with us through Friday. With more sunshine Thursday and Friday. Highs in the upper 70s Thursday, right around 80 Friday. Winds kick in out of the south over the weekend. That will push the smoke out of the area, but it will also bring in more moisture and a chance for some scattered showers and thunder showers over the weekend with highs in the 70s. And this weather has been brought to you by Progressive Ag Risk Management Specialists. If you're looking for summer heat, I do see some of that returning next week, middle and end of next week. Looks like we could turn hot across the area. So we're not done yet with the summer heat. It will be back.
Well, we shouldn't be, because August is still coming, which I realize that's in 2 days. Yeah, we should be shape with a little summer heat pretty quick. And honestly, right now, I think that there's still plenty of activities that people need to be doing, whether it's scouting fields, because we're keeping an eye on those. We're getting ready to go to harvest. I know there's a lot of small grains that are going to get cut fairly soon, as well as the fact that there are a number of things that we just need to be attending. And of course, Hefty Ag PhD Field Day is one of those. And Dean, you'll be down here with me again tomorrow. And as I said, there's a lot going on. The field demos start at 7 a.m. as well as the exhibits. So the early birds will certainly have their opportunity to get to the field first thing in the morning, and looking forward to seeing them do that. I am excited about it.
Right, and if anybody's going to be down there, be sure to stop at our booth. We're right next to, you said, the Hefty
Naturals.
The Hefty Natural booth. Okay, so yeah,
yep.
stop by and say hi.
Of the operation. Yeah, we're on the east end. We are straight across from Fent. In fact, I've got the booth set up now. I was just out there taking care of that before I came in to get on air. So I think we're in pretty good shape for tomorrow. One of the news stories that I did hear at the top of the hour was that we are seeing an increase in West Nile carrying mosquitoes through vector control. And Ben Pranther with Cass County Vector Control did a great job of reminding everybody that we have to be safe. We're not only seeing it in Cass County, but we're seeing that all the way from Wahpeton up to the northern end of the valley. This is the time of the year where we start to see more mosquitoes out there, because we get into that wheat harvest time frame, and that's generally when the West Nile carrying mosquitoes are most prevalent. So make sure that we are dumping out standing water. Be sure to be covered up, whether it's with long sleeves, long pants, whatever it might be, when you're in areas that could have a heavy population of mosquitoes. Bug spray, whatever you need to do, because here's Bridgette's soapbox. West Nile virus is nothing to sneeze at. My dad died from West Nile, and I will be probably the first advocate to tell you that we need to spray our communities and keep people safe, because no one wants to watch their loved one, whether it's their child or their parent or their spouse, spend 6 months in ICU from a plethora of problems, and still then after the fact continue to have migraines, nervous system disorders, and so much more. We had a tremendous amount of West Nile in 2012, and I can list off a variety of North Dakotans who have had lingering effects from that. And it didn't matter your age. This is not restricted to an elderly disease, so let's never call it that. This is a situation that happens to people who are outside on a regular basis. Mosquitoes they don't have any age discrimination. They'll go after anybody. And for them to be carrying West Nile virus will be a problem. So everybody, please be safe out there. I don't want to see any more statistics.
No doubt. No doubt. And now, how have the cases been this year so far, Bridgette? Do you know offhand?
I don't think, based on what Cass County has reported earlier today, they are just starting to see the uptick in the mosquitoes in the traps. I don't think we've had reported cases yet. But once we start to see the mosquitoes in the traps, the chances of that increasing are much, much higher. So that's where we have to take caution. And folks are still really enjoying their summer, whether you're at the lake, you're at kids' baseball games, you're at your adult softball league, whatever the case might be, mosquitoes are out there and ready and waiting for you, I'm afraid. That's not the best thing you've heard.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Oh, that's one of the things you have to deal with during summer, unfortunately.
Yes. Now, technology brings us some pretty cool things. One of them, for many of you, is the Dyson vacuum cleaner. Well, Dyson has a hand in farming. You may not be aware of this, but James Dyson, who is the renowned owner and inventor for Dyson vacuums, grew up in rural England, and he was no stranger to farming. In his youth, he worked in the area, even as much as hauling potatoes, and it really gave him a lifelong fascination with how things are made and how they work. He now has what's called Dyson Farming. It's a venture that has expanded to 36,000 acres across the UK. They have a flagship 26-acre glass house in Lincolnshire. Now, here's what that glass house or greenhouse has to show. It is a hybrid vertical growing system. It's a Ferris wheel type carousel, 26 yards long, 5 yards high, and it rotates rows of strawberry plants, exposing them evenly to sunlight. Additionally, there are state-of-the-art sensors that measure their humidity, CO2, temperature, and then make sure to precisely supplement what the plants need for the best growing conditions. Now, just using this greenhouse, Dyson was able to grow 1.2 million strawberry plants and reported 2.5 times yield increase compared to a standard greenhouse farming. Why is he doing it? And why is it important to start with strawberries? One, strawberries are kind of an easy crop to grow under these types of conditions. Two, it gives the opportunity to improve to other things by starting out in this manner. And the motivator of overall, in Britain, the reliance on imported produce during the winter months is tremendous. 90% of the UK strawberries come from abroad, and often they have over 2,300 air miles on them before they ever arrive on shore. So James Dyson, not only bringing you cleaner floors, better farming. So he certainly has the dollars to spend on the technology. I'm not sure that's applicable to everyone, but it is fun to see that he's got a plan and he's putting it into motion. So congratulations to Dyson. And if you haven't checked out what this large carousel looks like yet, go search that out on the internet. There's a lot of photos of it, and it's a pretty cool setup. Very impressive.
That doesn't suck, does it?
Not like a vacuum.
There. All right, you got it. Addison's looking at me like,
it.
what are you talking?
You're losing mic privileges.
I'm losing mic privileges. I deserve it.
I get it. Yes. Oh, and one of the things that you are going to be able to see as we get to more farm shows and exhibits this fall is Brandt is bringing out their new Avalanche grain cart. This is the model 3298. How big is it? 3,150 bushel capacity. What does that show you for storage? Well, it can fill up 3 semi-loads of grain. So really, that's going to minimize those bottlenecks at harvest because you can hold so much in the grain cart as you're filling trucks. These Avalanche grain carts have been out since 1998 with the pivoting auger design, and that continues. It's a low-profile auger design, and it also has very steep, sloped hopper handles that allows for high-moisture grain to completely clean out. That is a problem in some of the years that we've had where our grain is pretty wet and gets hung up and doesn't want to auger out of the grain cart into the semis. So this is a great way to make sure that it works well. I'm impressed. 3,100 bushel capacity, that's a big grain cart. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in person here very soon.
Good deal. Good deal. And we've got a guest coming up here.
We do. He's probably joining us very soon, and that is Tom Campbell. Tom heads up the USDA Rural Development for North Dakota. Here's the thing. A lot of us, especially that live in rural communities, say, what's rural development? Well, Tom's going to help us learn what that is. He's going to give us a little bit of background on himself as well as the agency, because you never know when you might need to visit with those folks. Speaking of visiting, we want to go ahead and hear the update on the livestock market from the American Ag Network, and then we'll return with Tom Campbell. Hey, while you're down here at Ag PhD Field Day, stop and see Chris Sherman with Tech Support Farm. He'll walk you through the fence check assessment to make sure that you're protected in all the right ways for your endpoints on the farm, for your encryption, better protection to prevent you from being spoofed, scammed, and for anybody hacking into your information. So check that out. TechSupportFarm.com. See Chris Sherman here in Baltic, South Dakota this week. Now, additionally, I wanted to let you know that you can be watching on the Acres TV app, which we're going to be doing a lot of things with Acres TV here tomorrow. Then Facebook and YouTube. We just hit 600 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Are you one of them? Because if not, you can be. So please do give us a watch on YouTube, Facebook under WDAY, Weather and Ag in Focus. We're also on Acres TV. And today you can call us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. And one of our listeners was paying close attention during our last break. And I got a text message asking me, what's the difference between that avalanche grain cart I just mentioned that's coming out from Brett, versus the mother bin from Australia? So to answer that question, the mother bin, which it has a larger holding capacity for grain, also doesn't move through the field. When you bring the mother bin out to a field, you stop it on the end of the field, put it into position, and then you load into it. It's designed to be a stationary storage at a remote site, versus the avalanche grain cart is designed to be behind the tractor, being pulled around the top, loading off the combine, returning that back over to the semi. But if you needed to hold product in the grain cart while you wait for your semis to get out of line at the elevator, what you can do is then hold 3 semi loads worth of grain in the cart. So that's the difference. Thanks again so much for listening and asking what's going on, and you can do that anytime on the JLA Insurance. Oh, and send me your guesses. I want to know if you're going to be able to win. Rain Gauge from Darter Plastic is a $100 gas gift card if you get the right bushel guess on our wheat field. Tell us what you think our wheat field's going to yield for Here We Grow 2025. So all of that aside, our guest is joining us now, and he is Tom Campbell, USDA Rural Development in North Dakota. So, Tom, tell me more about who you are as the director of this particular agency.
Hi, Bridgette, and thanks for having me. Looking forward to having a dialogue on rural development and probably a little bit myself, as you said. I'm from Grafton, North Dakota originally, started a potato farm from scratch with my younger brothers, so back 1978, and expanded into different things, real estate, banking, and lots of things. But my core business is potato farming, which I like, and we farm all the other rotational crops as well. I got involved in politics. I was a state senator from 2012 through 2018, or actually 19 session. I really enjoyed that. That was from District 19 up in the northeast corner of the Grafton district. We went south right up to around Grand Forks, Northwood, and Larimore, and then almost to the Canadian border. So it was fun. I really enjoyed public service. I'd always said my whole life that I wanted to pursue it, and I saved it for the back half of my life, which I was glad, because it gave me an opportunity to gain some experience in business and people relationships and different things. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
So there's Tom Campbell. But now Tom Campbell is the director for USDA Rural Development North Dakota. Now, I know that you do a lot of things in our smaller communities, but honestly, I couldn't describe your agency very accurately. So I'm going to ask you to do that for us.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, because as I travel my job, and I'm a presidential Trump appointee from Washington, D.C., and there's one in every state, Rural Development Director, which I am for just North Dakota. We implement about $400 million budget that we give out through different, guaranteed loans, direct loans, through communities, through helping lots of different things. We have 88 programs, and I'll maybe explain them as we go with our interview. But my job is to travel around the state and implement the programs to make sure that they're being implemented, and to advertise and promote the welfare of rural North Dakota. The Trump administration, along with Secretary Rollins, who's the USDA director, it's basically to continue to expand and to help rural America. It's kind of the backbone of our country. It feeds the people around the world, and they want to continue to expand on that and help them, especially some smaller communities. any community under 50,000 people is what we can target. A couple different programs, it's 20,000 and under. And so that kind of leaves out the big four. But that's probably a good thing because there's a lot of help and money needed for these things would probably be left out when the bigger communities compete. So I basically am doing that. And I've been here for about 2 months. I'm new at it. We've got a great staff, even though it's been reduced. But I like my job so far and the people that are with me.
And Tom, correct me if I'm wrong. You said 80. Did you say 88 programs that you have?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I said when I was told that. 88 different programs. Probably a fourth of them are not real active, and I think some of them are trying to be eliminated. But yeah, 88 programs. So
wow.
If you name it or you've got a need, we can almost find some funds with a loan or a grant or some help of some sort.
And what would let's say like give us a top two that people might be aware of, or list some that people have no clue, like, oh, I never knew that. What are some of the things that you're looking to help with in the rural community?
Well, it's broken into three different groups. First of all, for communities, and I'll focus on that one. Well, one's communities, one's single family housing, and the third one is businesses. So going back to communities, we'll help, communities under 50,000, of course. Anything to do with the hospitals. Hospitals is a huge factor where we help. We give, guarantee or not guaranteed loans, but real low interest loans. A lot of the hospitals, the critical rural access hospitals in North Dakota, probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for us supporting them, because a lot of them are smaller cities. The big and beautiful bill has allocated $50 billion into just helping small rural critical access hospitals, and we're trying to, hopefully it won't get gobbled up by some of the bigger hospitals that may possibly think they're in communities of probably 50,000 or more. But that's one of Trump's biggest concerns, is to make sure that our rural hospitals stay afloat. So many of them have been challenged with doctors and nurses shortages in rural America. So hospitals is a huge one. Clinics, long-term care centers is huge for us. Retirement homes, and I've had the privilege of in my travels visiting with a lot of these places that we've helped in the past or possibly want to extend some help in the future. So it's been fun to visit these long-term care centers and hospitals. I've been to about probably 4 or 5 of them. Schools we can help out, daycare centers. I was just at 2 of them that we helped out because that's a big need. As I travel around the state, it's interesting. 2 of the biggest things that come to mind right away from everybody is basically there's short housing and there's short daycare centers. Another one is water, and of course employees, the shortage of staff. But the biggest 2 is housing, and we can help in those 2 atmospheres, those 2 environments. And that's one of my goals, is to probably advertise and promote more of the single family housing. The single family housing, it's primarily targeted for people with adjusted or lower incomes, but we have lots of programs where they can get into homes with either zero down or minimal down. Some of them, no down payment, which helps. No interest. There's possibly some grant money involved, although there's less and less grant money. But it can help a lot of people. And as I travel around, that's the number one of the top 3. And I'm going to see if we can implement our program. Our fiscal year ends the end of September, and we've run out of funds in some categories. So I'm anxious to see if we get replenished and everything in, starting October 1st. Because so far right now, some of the funds, I've got to watch what I say, because we compete with the other 49 states for a lot of these targeted dollars. And but that's a big one that really concerns me and help. We have repair for people 62 and older. They can call in to repair their homes. They have to qualify as well. So there's just a lot of, libraries, community centers, fire halls, fire equipment, fire trucks. I just visited a place not too far from here, actually a couple of days ago, where we had, it took quite a while, but we funded a rural electric for putting in electrical poles, a piece of equipment. So it was interesting. So you name it, and we've probably funded it or helped them out in one way or another.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, Tom, we're coming up on the bottom of the hour break. When we come back, we'll have more questions for Tom. If you have any questions you'd like to ask Tom, shoot us a call, 701-293-9000. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, earlier I mentioned the fact that I want to hear about your bushels. How many bushels do you think we're going to raise? Give me your guesses because we're raising wheat for Here We Grow 2025. Folks that have been a big part of that are Gowan USA, making sure that when it came to fungicides for any crop in the rotation, you have the ability to use Domark and Affiance on your corn and soybeans or Badge SC on your wheat. And Red River Retention Authority. We've gotten a little bit of rain as of late. We're not in a flooding situation, but on the years that we are, Red River Retention Authority is there to make sure that bad things aren't happening to any of us. Our guest today is Tom Campbell. He is with the USDA Rural Development right here in North Dakota. Tom, I thought it was very ironic. After we talked and I said I was going to have you on air, I happened to find a Dakota farmer from 1972. And the lead story is all about rural development. In fact, there's a 4-page spread. What's ahead for the Dakotas? And I would say this was probably the start of the Rural Development Agency, and you've come a long way. I mean, you're talking about hospitals, fire departments, all the projects that you do in small communities. Would that be fair that it's just really grown to meet the needs of our Midwestern states much more than it was in 1972?
I would say so. I wouldn't be familiar with the 1972 era. I was pretty young then, but yeah, it's really expanded and grown, and it's helped a lot of these little communities, as you mentioned, prosper or survive in many instances. Hospitals is so important, and one key factor that I'm probably missing is private businesses that are for nonprofit or profit is another leg. That's one of the third I mentioned, and really there's no budget for that because what we do, we can many people. You can actually be located in Fargo, your headquarters, but as long as the business is in a smaller town, that would qualify. We can give you up to a $25 million loan that you'd partner up from any bank and work out your details, and we'd guarantee 80% of it. And that's a pretty popular program that helps out a lot of both the banks and the businesses because of the risk that we take off it for them. We have some other smaller programs that are interest free for up to $1 million. So there's a lot of stuff, not just for single family housing, people with moderate incomes or lower incomes, or not just communities, but businesses as well. One misconception that a lot of people think that I'm here, probably since I'm a farmer or it's a USDA, that I support the farm programs, and of course I do, but we have nothing to do with the farmers or supporting farmers. We're rural development, because that's the first thing everybody says, that can I help the farmers out? We cannot. We have no programs for any farmers or any farm programs, but we can do it the next step. If a farm has an added value, we financed the person that was a barley farmer that added a malting plant to it, and now he's shipping across many different states. So I'm meeting with a guy tomorrow that's a value added with he's going to be packaging and adding value to his products. So those programs are very viable, and we do support those. But so I just wanted to mention to you that many people think I'm with the farm programs, and I'm not. So
I think that's a fair statement. But really, what you were saying about the support that you do hospitals and daycares, that supports needs as well. So you're really auxiliary to maybe the main production of farming. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, because a lot of these small towns, I would say probably far majority of them, the agriculture community is the backbone. If the farmers thrive, Main Street rural thrives, and if it's hurting, they hurt, because it's been like that forever, especially in a lot of these smaller cities where they're getting smaller and smaller, and farmers are getting larger and larger, and less employees. So it is a factor we step in to help a lot of these communities prosper. We've helped grocery stores in little towns, and as I mentioned, daycares, and we do a lot of infrastructure too, water projects, wastewater, broadband. We were one of the 50 states, North Dakota, and this is before my time. Clark Carlson was the director about 5 years ago and beyond, and he led the development in broadband for North Dakota. We were the number one, I think it was, don't quote me, but many millions of dollars that we were as far as expanding broadband to rural North Dakota and all of North Dakota. So we were one of the pioneers for that. We worked through a lot of cooperatives, electric cooperatives, REAs, rural water group associations. We help with them and pipeline and stuff. So you kind of name it in rural America, we can help you with either a loan or a grant or a guaranteed loan. So it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it, traveling around, visiting with people's needs and how we've helped them in the past, how we can help in the future, and it's been fun.
So, Tom, I'm curious if in fact someone has a project that they want to start with, and from the community I live in, I can tell you that we have been part of those when it came to like rural water and infrastructure in our community. Where do folks start? How do they even begin to navigate their way through all the variety of programs? What should they be doing if they're interested in talking with you or your agency?
Well, they could start by just calling me, 701-877-0461. Call me on my cell phone, or I'm on the USDA website, thomas.campbell@usda.gov, and I can hook you up with like the 88 programs, and I'm pretty new, but we have a phenomenal staff. We have directors, Mel Ducart is the director for the single family housing. Renetta Starr is the community programs, and Denise Sundin is businesses, and then Mark Wax is our deputy director. These people are very knowledgeable on the programs, and they can help you specifically, help you with your application. And if we can't, they can direct you on other avenues. There's a lot of other opportunities there, whether it's the state or other federal departments that they can help you. So use it. It's free. Call us. Call me. I can hook you up with them, and I can, you can give me a briefing on which person, but that's my job, is to take phone calls and take people's interest to see if we can help them out, because that's our mission, is to continue to, promote and support rural America so it continues to thrive. And that's the backbone of America. It was many, many years ago, even though it's shrinking, it's less than 1% of our population, but it's still critical. We're feeding America and the world, and we want to do everything on our part to continue to promote that and help rural communities.
More than anything, how do we beat all those other 49 states who want the money? Because we want the most, Tom. What do we got to do first? How do we get there faster?
Well, not every program is with limited dollars. Like I said, some of these guaranteed loans, it doesn't cost the government any money other than the guarantee. So a lot of them aren't tied, but the single family housing and some of these are, and it depends. A lot of times, even though fill out an application anyway, even if it looks like it's maxed out, a lot of times they'll give additional dollars. Congress will give additional dollars for if there's a need or a disaster or something. So it's always great to fill out an application, which we can help you with, and to make sure you're there if it's full, so you're the first one in line for either the next year's budget or if there's additional funds that come. So I would say you have nothing to lose, and it's just some time. And like I said, please feel free to call me at any time or send me an email, and I can stop out and visit, or we can, just like I said, put you in touch with some of these other programs. So because we're here, and we've been very busy, and it's been very fun. Some of these programs that I wasn't aware of before this, and a lot of people aren't aware of, like some of these business and industry or cooperative programs. I tell people, they ask me what I'm doing, and they go, "Really? I can get a loan? Really?" Just so I find it very interesting. Some of these things are just the best kept secret, and it's my job to lift the bushel basket, let the light shine, and promote and promote the ag industry in rural communities.
Well, I tell you what, if you mentioned that so many of these low interest loans and help from USDA is targeted at communities under 50,000 people, and we just take out the big four in North Dakota, that leaves a lot of room in this state for communities to be a part of the things that could happen at USDA. So I think the door is kind of wide open for us, as you mentioned.
Well, and I said, you can be headquartered in one of the bigger cities as long as your business, which happens in many, many instances. Their headquarters in Fargo, but they have like 2 or 3 satellite plants in smaller towns. So just because you're located there, call anyway, because we can help you out. I learned that the hard way from somebody that I told no to, and then one of the people underneath me said, "Oh no, we can do that." So I'm learning as well, but it's a fun business, and it's here to help. We're just continuing this program. It's been around. The USDA started back in Abraham Lincoln when he was president. So it's been around for a long, long time, and it's expanded, and where we've been helping the rural communities. So it's nothing new. It's been around, and would love to hear from you, see if we can help you out.
I am looking forward to people sending you questions and finding out more, Tom. Thanks for taking the time to join us today to talk about rural development because you affect ag in North Dakota tremendously.
Well, thank you, Bridgette, for the opportunity to promote ourselves, because it starts with you guys, with the media, and reaching out to all these people. Especially, you have a big rural audience, and it's great to talk to them. And thanks again. Anytime, give me a call, and you know where you can get a hold of me.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tom. And when we come back, don't forget, today's Wednesday, so we still have our Wednesday weather trivia question. That's coming up right after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:52 in the afternoon. Temperatures outside in the low 70s. Quite a bit of cloud cover hanging over the area. And we'll see some of that start to break apart here as we head towards the evening hours. Now, it's time for our Wednesday weather trivia, where we're giving away one of our Darter Plastic heavy-duty rain gauges. And the only thing we ask is that make sure you haven't won anything over the last 30 days. And if you do win today, we ask that you kindly report any rainfall totals with that rain gauge to us as well. Then we pass that information along to the National Weather Service. So today's trivia question. So far this season, we've had 7 days of 90 degrees or higher. Now, the record number of 90-degree days was 39. We had one summer with 39 days of 90-plus degree heat. What year was that? Bridgette, do you have any clue? Do you have...
I have an idea. But I'm going to ask a clarifying question.
Sure.
Did you live in North Dakota the year that this occurred?
No.
Then I got it.
Yeah. Yep. In fact, let's see. Where was I in this year?
Whoa. Let's not give that.
Okay. All right. 701-293-9000.
Yeah. JLA Insurance phone line. I want to see your guesses. I'm excited to see what people think. This should be kind of fun.
All right. We got a caller on line one. Caller, what's your name?
Hal.
Al?
With an H. Hal.
Hal, what is your guess?
1936.
Ooh, good guess, but no, that is not correct. Yeah, the Dust Bowl years. That makes sense. Thanks, Hal. 701-293-9000. All right, we got a caller here on line two. Caller, what's your name, please? Greg, what is your guess?
1988.
You are correct. 1988. Bridgette knew it, didn't you?
I did. That was the year of the drought. So for those, Greg, you probably remember that too. 88 and 89 were heavy drought years in North Dakota, and it was hot, and there was very little rainfall.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, congrats, Greg, and we'll put you on hold here, and our director, Addison, will take care of, he'll get some more information from you. You know where our station is at, correct?
Yes.
All right. Good deal. Well, congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, 1988. I figured somebody would guess the Dust Bowl years first back in the 30s, but, 1988. You were up here, Bridgette, in 88.
Oh.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yep.
So, in 88, I was 15 years old, and I distinctly remember our wheat was about like this tall versus the wheat that you and I are raising this year for our Here We Grow crop. Very little combine happening that year, and our hay crop was short. That was a year where I remember my dad saying that $80 a ton for hay was too expensive. I just heard every cattle producer out there go, I'd buy it for $80 a ton, but at the time it was way more expensive than folks wanted to put money into. So it's been a big change since what we saw in 88. 1989 was not a lot better. And that was also the year that North Dakota had their centennial for statehood, as well as, of course, South Dakota did. But I will never forget being at home and wanting to go to Bismarck for some of the state centennial events in July. My parents both saying, are you kidding me? It's hot out there. No, we're not doing that.
That had to be a rough year to farm, that's for sure. No doubt.
It was horrendous. It was a horrendously bad year. Many people struggled because you also had that combined with what had happened early on in the 80s with incredibly high interest loans and just the farming in general. Commodity prices were low. It was rough. There was a lot of folks that left the dairy business at that point in time too. Now, I want to refer back to my 1972 Dakota Farmer for just a moment. I have found an ad. This was from an equipment dealer who's still viable today. That's Anderson Brothers down in Edgeley, North Dakota. For those of you farming, you'll laugh a little bit at this. You could buy a new 1555 Oliver tractor. This was a 53 horsepower tractor for $3,995.
Oh, man.
And because my heart is in agronomy and I'm all about weed control, you can get yourself a Kirschman spray coop for $2,875. A whole spray coop.
Since
And,
you've got
this
the
was-
thing right there, do you think they'll honor that if you bring that in?
I could call Anderson Brothers. I know some guys down there and check it out. But this was the non-fancy spray coop. It doesn't have a cab. This was the
Oh.
open air. Best of luck on your health situation before we put cabs on these things. We didn't always have good ideas in farming, right? Some days we just didn't go. It didn't go well.
It's fun to look back, though, isn't it? You know?
Okay. Also, I would say there's no website addresses in 1972, but every ad has these little clip coupons where you can send your name and address in an envelope with the little coupon to get further information in the mail. They did maybe even a phone number.
No QR code on
That was
there?
No, I'm afraid not. No connections at that point. So you're kind of on your own. But yeah, old farm magazines are great fun to look at.
It's always nice to go back in the past, that's for sure. Well, for Bridgette and myself, we want to thank everybody for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. And again, if you're going to be in Baltic tomorrow, be sure to stop down and see us and say hello. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, that's coming up next.